So hi, Damian.
Hi,
So
Asante.
welcome back, everybody. I am with one of my great friends, Damian Mains, and Damian lives and breathes everything health, wellness, and lifestyle. We've, gosh, Damian, we met long time ago. How long has it been?
It's been at least 23 years ago because I know my daughter was an infant. Your daughter was an infant when we
Yeah,
first saw each other at the kickboxing class.
and
And
it was at a fitness class that we met. And then you went on to open up your own gym. So I'll kind of let Damien give you guys a little bit of background about who she is and what she does. There's a lot, and it's awesome, and there's a lot of information that she has to give us all about that. So I'll let you tell them.
okay, well, let's see. It starts way back in high school, actually, when I went to school at Pine View School for the Gifted here in Sarasota. And we happened to be in a group of portables across the street from the YMCA. So after school every day, I would go to the Y, and my mom worked at the fitness center. My dad used to teach body bar classes there. We just liked to hang out there because it was a great place to meet people and to gather your friends where you could do stuff, that was active. Back then gosh, I'm aging myself, didn't have computers to go home to play
We
video
went
games on.
outside.
Like, yeah, we actually
We
gathered
played.
and played racquetball, the racquetball courts.
Oh,
We
I loved
played tag
racquetball.
in the back, playground at the Y. They had a great jogging track around
Yeah.
so there was so much to do. And I realized at that point that that was just part of my life, that the YMCA became part of my family. And when I went to college, I started at New College and then went to University of Florida my second year because I just wanted that out of Sarasota experience. I felt like
Yeah.
I needed
Yeah.
that full college experience. So I went to University of Florida, and when I was there, I got a job at Gainesville Health and Fitness Center,
Oh, I
and
didn't know
had
that.
a great I had a great team that I worked under there. And we got to do a lot of research for Nautilus. So my first real introduction into the gym was Nautilus equipment. And
Oh my gosh.
I worked with a guy named Ellington Darden, who used to do research for Nautilus worldwide. And he actually did research in our facility in Gainesville. So we tested all kinds of fitness equipment, and I learned so much. Joe Cerulli is the name of the owner of Gainesville Health and Fitness, and his approach to teaching his instructors as well as the people that entered the gym was unlike any that I've seen since. He wanted people to know why they were working out and what they were doing when they were working out. So we were taught that when you go on a machine, which happened to be Nautilus at the time, we did these circuits, that we would instruct them, let's say for the pullover machine, where you're
Yeah.
pulling your arms over. And we'd say, okay, you're primarily working your lats, and then the things that the lats do, or any kind of pulling movement. So people had a real awareness of why they were doing it, what they were doing it. And I think it really helped to have that mind-body connection that we talk about so
Yes.
much in this industry now. Because, it's important to not only just show up at the gym, but to do the things that are going to help your body to perform better. Our bodies
Yeah.
are basically
Yeah.
our machines, and we have to fuel them properly with the proper nutrition, but we also have to uh, provide a little resistance, for it, because without a little bit of resistance, whether it's cardiovascular challenge, where you have to expand your lungs, or whether it's lifting weights, that your body has to push to its limits and maybe a little bit more so that that growth can occur, so that change can occur. At least, that's sort of my approach.
Is is that place still there, Damien? Is that fitness center
It
in
is.
Gainesville still? It
Yes.
is?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes.
Because you are, I mean,
But
you're also, I mean, you do so many things, but one of the things that you do, and I love, and you're a personal trainer, and um, I love how you talk about what we're doing, and when you explain it, for me personally, and you do group fitness as well. And so for me personally, it allows me to do the exercise better if I know where that connection is supposed to be made.
Sure.
And prevents injury, I think, too.
Right. But I think you can go overboard, because I have one client who used to like to talk about, okay, where is that connect in my bones? And where's the muscle originate? And where does it,
Oh,
and
that's
sometimes
funny.
too much knowledge, it can be detrimental too, because
Yeah.
then you end up thinking too much about what you're doing and you don't do it. So the important thing is that you keep it simple, and that you stick to things that and then learn the things that will help your body, and push yourself through those.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Do you have a,
I'll never forget. I
no,
was
no,
going to
go
say,
ahead.
my
Go ahead.
interview at Gainesville Health and Fitness, there was a stack this thick of applicants, and I remember sitting across from, I think it was Joe at the time, and he was saying, well, what's going to make you different than any of these other applicants? And I said, well, because I put my heart into it, and I do that in my job today. It's my passion. It's what I love. And I think that is why I got the job, because I puked after the workout that he put me through, because I
You
would not say
did?
no. You just don't say no. You just try and try until and unfortunately I did throw up after that
What was
workout,
the
but I got the
workout?
job.
Like,
So it was worth it.
could you do that workout today with no problem?
Yes, but in truth, at the time, Nautilus really pushed us to push to your failure. So when you get to
Yes.
muscular failure, that's beyond like where you can't push anymore. And a lot of people today don't train to that level. So would I puke again? Perhaps I would, because I don't always push it to failure
I
every
know. Yeah.
time.
It's hard. It's
So
hard for us too, right? We're always like, this is a great time for me to take a water break right before I get to failure. I know I work,
yes,
since COVID, a lot of us, it's kind of so so I call it the 9 a.m. club, all the girls that we work out with 9 a.m.
yes,
at your
yes.
gym. And we've been doing that same group of girls, gosh, I mean, forever. I don't even know how many
20
years,
plus
but it's
years. Yeah.
same group of
Yeah.
girls, the 9 a.m. club. I love it so much. And when COVID came, everybody had to make adjustments, right? Fitness centers and gyms were one of the first places that were off limit. And we started doing a lot more stuff outside, and you could really see the difference in
And we
one
did
when
Zoom.
we
I
did
did it in my living
Zoom.
room.
You did right by your fireplace. I know you were
In
always there
front of
by
the
your fire.
fireplace on my
But
terrazzo floor. Yeah.
you really saw how the difference in when you were doing it by yourself versus doing it with
Oh my
either your
gosh.
instructor or your group. You really push harder when you're with. I love group
Oh,
fitness. I
absolutely.
love
When
it.
you're by yourself, it felt like there was like concrete in my shoes. And when you're with
Yes.
everybody else, it's like you're as light as a fairy. It's just that I don't know, energy,
Yeah,
that
you pulling
combined
from
energy.
yeah. And people that
Yeah,
love group fitness love group fitness. They love being a part of
sure.
that. And it really helps drive them. I mean, I love it so much. But you do even beyond. I mean, you do yoga, you do Pilates, kickboxing. I mean, there's so much. And I have to say, I think you are the fitness trainer with the most toys I have
Yeah,
ever seen. You always come in with a new gadget. Let's
that's
try
true.
this,
That's true. I
get
try it
on
all.
that.
And I'm always like to learn. Yes.
You
Yes.
do. You're always getting another certification. Like, how many certifications do
Yes.
you have? Do you even know?
I haven't even counted that. I don't know. I haven't even counted them all up.
I feel like
But
you're like, I'm always
as
going
part
through
of
a class or.
as part of our license, we have to do continuing education. And so rather than just take a course and pass it, I get a new certification every year or every two
Yeah,
years.
that's so
And
smart.
I find that that's how I expand my learning and my repertoire of what kind of things I can offer my clients, whether it's group or personal training. It just gives me more bullets in the gun, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that.
And
So
it's
how do
always good to
you,
change things up. Yeah.
you always tell me that because I complain to you all the time. And you remind me that it's important to do different things, even if it's just going for a walk. If you're not walking enough, like incorporate a walk, incorporate a day of stretching. Like before we started recording today, I told you that I got a rebounder. I've been jumping on that rebounder. Oh my God, it's been so fun. Like feeling, like you said earlier,
It is
like
fun.
going outside and playing. My favorite thing to do when I was young and we would play outside was hit the tennis ball off the garage. Just constantly
Yes.
hit that ball off the garage. I can't play tennis to save my life, but I can hit that ball all just for hours and hours and hours. And I just loved it. I think
Yeah,
we should get outside more. You know, I obviously we live in a hot climate,
absolutely.
but so, excuse me, what would you, if someone is struggling, you know, they're sort of in a rut, let's say, and they wait, they're in their mind, right? So one of the things we talk about periodically on this podcast is this book called Tiny Habits, and how just with each day, just making one stride towards a change, we can literally change our whole lifestyles for the good and for the bad. And
Oh,
in
that's
that book,
absolutely true.
it's true, right? And in Tiny Habits, one of the things they talk about is that motivation just isn't enough, right? There has to be like this component amongst other things, because most of us wake up in the morning and are like, okay, I'm going to work out today. And then we start scrolling on our phones and we get distracted and we sit and have a cup of coffee. And all of a sudden, it's now we're late, right? So, what is one of the easiest ways that you can sort of help someone that really is struggling to change their lifestyle, to get more movement and physical activity into their lifestyle? How does somebody start? Like, where do they go? What do they do? I mean, what's the
Well,
easiest thing?
that's a great question because it really varies per individual. And I think the biggest thing is to not be your own worst enemy and to keep postponing. The best thing that we can do is to be consistent
Yes.
with a workout routine or nutrition. You know, our bodies, our health, and our physical bodies are one thing we can't buy. You have to earn. You have to eat right. I mean, yes, you can get plastic surgery. Yes, you can pay somebody to make your food, but ultimately, what you put in your mouth and what your body looks like is reflective of how you treat it.
Yeah.
And we all, I think, can get into a position where we maybe put other people or our jobs or other things ahead of ourselves. And really, without your health, you don't have any of those other things. So
Right.
just like we brush our teeth every day and we don't think about like, oh, I have to brush my teeth today. You should also have that kind of mentality toward working out or being active. Maybe you don't call it workout. Maybe you just go outside and walk. I think it's important to find what works for you, whatever that is, because if you just keep waiting, oh, I'm never going to do a kickboxing class. That's too hard for me. Well, you don't have to do kickboxing. You could walk in your neighborhood or you can go to the gym and row. You've got to find something, one that you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. And
You're not
and I
going to
think
keep
that's
doing
one of
it.
the things that we loved about the group exercise, because when you have that whole group to be accountable to, if we didn't show up, somebody's calling us saying, "Are you okay? Like, why
They
didn't you
are.
go today?"
They are.
So it's nice to have that, and with personal training, so I think people pay for that too because they want somebody to be accountable to, because it's hard to be accountable to yourself.
Yeah, it
And,
is.
but just like you said, it really is about just putting one foot in front of the other. And just like any kind of mountainous task, whether it's, maybe the laundry you have or the dishes in the sink, we can all like look at that or if it's working out because we gained some weight over the holidays, we can look at that and go, oh my gosh, it's going to take so long. I'm never going to do that. But if you just sit down and you do it, you do one dish at a time, you do one push up at a time, you do
Yep.
one sit up at a time. You just make time, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, whether
That's right.
it's 20 minutes. It's making that time for yourself.
No, I like that. I love how you said like it's sort of like just it needs to be part of your everyday routine. I mean, you wake up, you brush your teeth, there's no questions asked. You have
Right.
your normal routine. This is part of it. It is part of health, wellness, lifestyles, and also sustainability. Like, you know, it's important to feel good every day. And some days we have just a little bit more spunk than others. And so great, give it all you
Absolutely.
got. And on the days you don't, go for a walk.
Hey,
Maybe
now
get on
let
your
me take
bicycle.
a pause and say that rest is very important too, because some people can get too adamant about working out and end up hurting themselves, getting things like tendonitis or having joint injuries and then
Yeah.
just ignoring them. And you can't do that. But certainly, I know, just as you said, talking to your other doctors, that I don't know one doctor who would tell you, "Oh, you've got a shoulder injury. You should not go to the gym."
Right.
No, they're
Right.
not going to say that.
Right.
There's many other body parts that you can still work,
Well,
but
and
maybe
people
you need
don't
to give your
recognize,
shoulder a rest.
like people don't recognize, like when they will go to their doctor and the doctor will say, "Oh, we're going to put you on physical therapy." Well, physical therapy is a lot of the exercises that we do in the gym. Maybe with a
Yes,
lighter weight or a slower pace, maybe some less reps, but all of those exercises are there to strengthen all the muscles around the injury and to prevent it from
absolutely.
happening again. I mean, you're amazing with that as well. You and Megan also, and Megan is a physical therapist, but it is amazing how it's like, well, we have to work this muscle so that we don't injure this other body part. And I think
Right.
people don't
Yeah.
recognize that.
The body is really so fascinating and so incredible because it can do so many things for us. But we have to be careful to make sure that we stay balanced. And as you mentioned before, that's why I do so many different kinds of things with my fitness. Like I like to do things that are going to expand my lungs, like kickboxing or running or sprinting. You just mentioned rebounding. I have one of those hypervibe vibration
Oh,
platforms,
those are cool. I
and
want to come over and
they're
try that.
great too. Yeah, so we should have sessions together because
I
both are
love it.
great. Rebounding and the vibrational tools are great for lymphatic drainage. But
That's right.
it's also funny when you get on those things and you start bouncing, especially when you're a menopausal woman like me. All of
And
a sudden,
me.
you realize what jiggles? Why? Where's that jiggle coming from? Why is that
Oh,
jiggle like?
everywhere. Everything's jiggling. Oh my goodness.
But at the same time, that makes everything jiggle less too by doing that.
So
So
how does
the
that
more
work?
you
So
do it, the
that
better it
actually
gets.
does that? I didn't know that. I
Oh,
thought it was more
sure.
about like getting that lymphatic, your lymphatic system ready and moving and primed. I didn't realize that it actually had, I don't know, the benefits of
Oh, sure, because you're
preventing the
using all these
jiggle.
muscles. Yes, you're using all these
Really?
muscles and they're going to tighten up. So that tightening up when you're using your muscles will help to maybe not prevent the jiggle, but it will minimize the jiggle.
Which is okay. Hey, well, I'll take anything
Exactly.
I think I'm entering
Exactly.
my third year of menopause now. And
Oh, wow.
ooh, if anybody out there listening knows when that ends, can you just email me and let me know how much more time I have on this
Yeah.
hormonal
Yeah.
roller coaster? And one thing I do hear from everyone who's beyond the stage that I'm at is they say, I know it doesn't feel like it's making a difference right now, but no matter what you do, don't stop exercising. I promise you it's going to
Absolutely.
make a difference on the other side of that. And so I pray that those ladies know what they're talking about. And I'm just, some days I give it my all, and other days I'm on my treadmill or the rebounder, and maybe a stretch class, and that's about all I can give.
Well, here's the real truth. You know how as we've gotten older, we wake up in the morning, things just are a little stiffer and maybe
Oh
not as
yeah,
comfortable as they once were when we'd wake
yeah.
up and everything felt great. Well, that's what happens to your body when you stop working out, too. Everything gets stiff and hardens and is not pliable. And as we get older, it actually becomes more important to be physical and more important to exercise because everything just kind of you become like the, you know, tin man. And
That's
without that lubrication in our joints, it's painful. So
that's
you're in less
amazing.
pain if you work out.
Like we know this, we all know this, but to put it together with like, listen, if we're lucky, we're getting 8 hours of sleep, maybe.
True.
So the average person is probably laying in their bed at night and with let's just call it without movement for maybe, let's just say 5 to 8 hours on average. And everybody that I talk to, even the 30 and 40-year-olds are like, oh, it's so hard to get out of bed. Everything hurts. And
Yes.
you just kind of put that all into focus. Like, imagine just sitting in the chair, so people that sit at
Yes.
desk jobs all day long. And then if they go home from their desk job and then they go to the dinner table, and then from the dinner table, they go to the couch. And then from the couch, they go to their bed. I mean, they are really shortening their lifespan. I mean, I don't,
Absolutely.
that's really bad. You have to get up and move, especially even
That's
if
why
just
I
a
have
walk
a
after.
stability ball that I sit on when I do school.
Oh, oh
And
yeah, because then
yeah,
you're
it's
using your
important to
core,
keep
right?
moving around. Yes, it's important to keep moving around and to keep your body from getting stiff and stoved up. And
That's
yes,
a cool
so
stability
exercise
ball.
is
Was
very
that
important for that.
fabric? Was that stability ball
Yes,
fabric?
yes. This one makes it look a little bit more presentable in an
Yeah, like
office environment.
you can put it in the living room. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
That
you
was the
should see
thought.
what's on the other side over here. So this side is sort of my little she cave office. The other side of the room, I'm looking at my red light dome, my ultrasound machine, my neck stretcher, my cryo
Oh,
machine, my rebounder, my weight.
yeah, me too. Me too.
I
I've
mean,
got
it's like
my
there's no room.
my treadmill to the right of me. I've got
Oh, yeah,
my
the treadmill's
stack
over
of
there. Yeah,
weights to the
yeah.
left of me. I've got my upside down yoga headstand thing that I brought to the
Oh,
gym
yeah,
that you
yeah.
did with
That
me.
yes. Oh, that's a good thing. That was a
It
great
is. Feels
thing.
great on your neck.
I honestly, that's a goal of
And
mine.
yeah, I'm always buying new equipment and trying new stuff. And I just signed up for another piece of equipment that I'm hoping to get to my home that's made, and it's basically a long tube, and it's got a cable resistance, and you can dial in the cable. Because I think the reason I have so much equipment too is that with my son and my husband here at the house, I can keep them more active because they're gamers by bringing them
Yes.
around, and I have like little workout routines that I do with my son
Yep.
every day, and my husband has his own because we can't work out together.
Well, he used to work out with us and then he stopped working out with us. But
Yeah.
he used to come to our class.
I love my husband, but he knows just as much as I do. So
Of course
there's
he
no
does.
sense in me telling him anything.
Of course he does. And he has just as many certifications or
Of course.
no, not at all. No, 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 no.
No, that's just the husband-wife dynamic. If anybody
Yep.
else told him, he would listen, but
I know. We all have it. We
that's
all
just
have it.
reality.
Speaking of husbands and sons and kids, my husband, he got sick, remember he had like a really, really bad bout of COVID and we didn't know.
Scary. Yes.
It was really,
Yes.
really scared. And my husband's never been what I consider to be unhealthy, but that COVID
No.
created ailments for him that he had never had before. And he had never had issues with his lungs. He's not a smoker. He
Right.
rarely drinks alcohol. We eat at home most of the time. And he's an ex-basketball player at the University of Florida. I mean, he's an athlete. And that really, really took him down. And now he is so aware of how important it is. And if he doesn't get his bike ride or his stretching, he stretches every night. He rides his bike probably 10 to 15 miles every day. And he just loves it. And he needs it. And I love that he's found that on his own. And my children as well, during COVID, we hired Marvin to come to the house and work out with all the teenage boys here at the house. And now these boys make their own plans to get together to work out. Marvin still comes, but the ones the boys that are at college now, they are finding the college, the school gyms and really utilizing it because they're addicted to it because it makes them feel good. They notice the difference. And let's face it, they're all gamers. They're all couch potatoes when they want to be, but they
Right.
love it. They love
Well,
it.
that's the thing is that, once people start finding something that they enjoy and working out, it's not always enjoyable to people at first. But if you can
Yeah.
stick with it until you get that adrenaline, you get that feeling, and you really realize, wow, I sleep so much better.
Yes.
I feel so much better. My brain makes better neural connections. because all of that truly comes from exercising your body. There's so many
Yeah.
good things. Your body can, digest better. Everything is improved
Well, and you
by
and I,
working out.
after so many years of working out together and mixing everything up, then you and I discovered Zumba together on the same
Yes,
day when we went to Zumba together. And I'm still
yes,
trying to get Yael on the show and just trying to work out the schedule. But
that would be
God, I mean,
great.
talk about something that would really get your endorphins up and being surrounded by an
Oh, and
energy
such
that is crazy.
what an amazing group of individuals too. Sorry, my
So
printer's
fun.
making noise.
Oh, that's
They
okay.
are the most loving and incorporating group, engaging that I've ever been around. I think I told you when we went to the Zumba convention, which we both got Zumba certified. So,
Yeah,
hey,
Damien
good
and
for
I did.
you to
That's
do
right.
that.
Damien and I did
And
that.
when I went to that certification with you in Orlando, and we're looking around, I was like, I have never seen so many people, different nationalities, different body sizes, different shapes, different cultural backgrounds. I mean, it was just the biggest melting pot of fitness
Yes.
people that I've ever seen,
And I remember what
and
you
that
said to me.
was amazing.
I remember what you said to me. You said of all the because I mean you've even done the fitness competitions where I mean
Three bodybuilding shows,
crazy
yes,
bodybuilding shows that you've done. I've watched you transform your body and other people's bodies. I mean, you understand how this works and the sacrifices that go along with that. And you
yes,
said to me, of all my years of being in this, which you clarified has been honestly your entire life that you've been in the fitness
pretty
arena,
much.
you said this is the first fitness convention that I've ever gone to that everybody is so happy and everybody is
Yes.
so diverse because usually when you go to a fitness competition, you know what you're going to get. I mean, everybody's going to sort of be you're either lean and mean,
These
you're
perfect bodies.
bulked up, and nobody's eating. And it
No,
was actually
and
you and I
everybody's
sat down at
miserable.
lunch. Yeah, they're miserable. They're miserable, and
Yeah,
these
there's a lot
people
of them like that. Yes, I know a lot of people,
so
and not
fun.
every fitness instructor is healthy either, because a lot of them like count every calorie that goes in their mouth and weigh their foods. And yes, there's a time and a point you have to do that if you're doing competition. But in everyday life, I mean, I just feel like you're being too hard on yourself. You have to live life too. And
You're great at that. You're awesome at balance. You
thank you.
are.
I
You're
try
so
to be
great at that.
balanced.
So, okay, so let's talk about that, Damien, because you said, there are fitness instructors that are unhealthy. And
Sure.
healthy, the word healthy, the definition can be many things, right? Healthy doesn't just mean that you have to be so skinny and count your calories, right?
No.
Because I think there's an important place to be like balanced, mentally healthy in the sense of, we suffer like we have a huge society that suffers from body dysmorphia and we're afraid to put
Yes.
food in our mouth and we think that by going to the
Yes.
gym we're healthy. And so can you talk a little bit about, what a true balanced healthy lifestyle could look like from a fitness perspective, from a trainer perspective?
Well, this is purely my opinion, but I truly believe that you need to find nutrition and exercise that work for your lifestyle and will, I don't know, feed your body the right kind of things. So if you are, for instance, the reason I say this in this way is that if you're from an Asian background and you like doing, rice and meat and broths and pho and all that, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to just figure out what's healthy for you in that spectrum of food. Like I don't really believe in diets per se, because I feel like it's where we get ourselves in a trap. When we're trying
They're
to,
very
yes, you
restrictive.
do have to diet if you're going to be in a bathing suit on stage. You have to eat in a certain calorie deficit. And if you're trying to lose weight, you want to eat in a certain calorie deficit. But just to maintain a healthy lifestyle, I think a healthy person is going to know what to eat and know how to stop themselves from eating without necessarily having to put everything into the phone app and obsess about, did I eat enough fat today? Did I eat enough, uh, um, carbs? Am I eating enough protein? It is important, but I don't think that it has to be, um, where you're like having nightmares about it.
Yeah.
To be honest, when I did those bodybuilding shows, how I got to that really skinny on stage person was beating myself up. I would tell myself like, "Oh, you're fat. You can't eat that." Like just in my head, and I
Uh,
wouldn't say it out loud. But this is the kind of things that we can do and that I think are so unhealthy. And you have to
yeah.
be careful when you go down that road. I've had people come to me and say, "Well, I want to be in a show. Do you think I should do it?" And I'm like, "Well, are you, you have to be mentally prepared for that because
Yeah.
it's a lot more than just working out and the food that you put in your body. It's also the way you talk to yourself. It's also, how you deal with your friends and family when you are in a calorie deficit, which is hard. When you
Yeah.
lack carbs and stuff, your brain doesn't work as well. You need carbs for your brain to function.
Yeah.
So some of these people who go these extreme diets, I just don't find it healthy at all.
I'll
And
tell
that's
you,
just my opinion.
we have a client, we, we saw, him and her, and he got into that. He went pretty far down that, and it affected his relationship, and eventually it cost him his life because he suffered from a lot of the imbalances in his mental health, and it was really scary because he was so young and so full of life. He really was a great presence, but it had taken over. And that's why
Yes.
when you see a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of different categories, and we're not here to judge anybody at all, but
No, no.
we're primarily here to talk about ways that you can live healthy lifestyles. And I agree with you, Damien. I think using the word diet should be used very sparingly. I don't think anybody should be on a diet unless they are focusing on a certain goal. But I
Cool.
think in order
Right.
to sustain, a healthy lifestyle, I think that is just making small changes, along the way.
Yes.
And one of the things, like I always tell people all the time, like, don't go home and clean out your whole pantry. That's a waste of money. If you are ready
Yes.
to stop cold turkey, at least donate it to your neighbor or somebody. Don't go wasting
Yes.
food that you paid for. And then slowly bring in different ingredients that are going to change the way that you now start cooking your meals. When
Yes.
you go out to eat, just order a little bit differently. Make
Right.
some special
And a lot of
requests.
it is just educating yourself. And you
Hmm.
do a great job with your posts and linking people to learn more, like your posts about the
Oh,
food
thank you.
babe and all these toxins in our foods and
Oh,
stuff.
I love her. She's really making
It's
a,
so sad. I think it was COVID that first made me realize that you can't always trust everything you see on TV and that you hear from the higher powers
yeah,
that are going to be in your best interest.
yeah,
So, I've learned that you really need to do your own research,
yeah,
and
you
I'm
do. And
I'm loving that there's going to be some food changes. I'm hoping with the
I'm
new
with you.
administration, um, and because it boils down to something that RFK said, and I believe this is that we need to love our children more than we hate each other, and
Oh,
make a better
yeah.
future for them because that's
Yeah.
what it's really about.
I love that. Love our children more than we hate each other, because honestly, why is anyone defending any organizations that are okay with poisoning our food and
I don't know
water?
if you saw, but there was a woman from the Kellogg company who actually came out on a podcast
The
recently
heiress,
with Food Babe. Yes.
right? The heiress. Was she like a granddaughter or a great granddaughter
Yeah,
to the
I think so.
Kellogg's? And
Yes. Yes.
she was like bashing them.
Yes.
She was like, That's not it's not ethical." And I
Right.
think after that interview is where the food babe, she started catching some flack, but it was good because, it's like, if they can't hear you, yell louder. So I love what she's doing. And, I think, listen, there's controversy in my home about what she's doing, because my kids and my husband are like, why is she fighting for Kellogg's? People should just not buy Kellogg's. right? Like all the foods that they're producing are processed foods. And I've explained to
Right.
them that, you know what? These are the foods that are being provided at school lunches. These are the foods that are at
Right.
continental breakfasts when you stay at a hotel. These are the foods that you're getting in airports or on airplanes. And
Well, and they
so,
have like Tony the Tiger on the front. So they're like,
how are you going to
appealing
tell
to
a kid they
children,
can't eat
especially.
cereal? I mean, I grew up
I
on
know.
cereal. I loved Saturday
Oh,
morning cartoons with a bowl of cereal. I would literally sit with the
I
box of
grew up on
cereal.
Dunkin' Sticks. I used to get those Dunkin'
What's a
Sticks.
Dunkin' stick?
Oh my gosh, they're terrible. They're
Is
like
it Dunkin' Donuts?
no, it's do you remember those
Oh,
I
like
think they were
Dunkin',
like
like dunk it in your milk?
they were like apple crisps. They had like peanuts characters on them. They were like that, but they were like it was
Oh,
like a giant it was kind of rectangular squared. I don't know. And yeah, you're supposed to dunk them in your coffee, but as kids we didn't drink coffee, but my mom would
no.
warm those up. I mean that, and I think on Hamburger Helper I grew up on too. So I
So
didn't have
my family being immigrants, from Italy, and everything was home cooked and fresh. But
you're so lucky.
But we would wake up in the morning and they'd have an apple pie. It was all Entenmann's. I remember just being Entenmann's, apple
Oh
pie, the
yes.
chocolate thing, and we'd
Those
have
chocolate
like
chip cookies.
chocolate milk and that. And I'm thinking, I don't know why I knew that wasn't good pie because I felt like crap. And that's the thing, right? I think
Right.
it's just the cycle right now that we're doing to our children with the food industry is that we're a sick society. Like we are the sickest country in the world. And they're estimating that, what is it? Like 10 out of 10 kids is going to develop an autoimmune disease in the next 10 years. That's a lot of kids. That's everybody.
Right.
And it's
Right.
really scary. But what happens is it's like we're feeding these kids food and there's busy families. Like people are busy. They got to get out the door in the morning and they're doing the best. So they pick up a box of cereal. They pick up something, quick and easy that's claimed to be like a healthy breakfast bar. And it's a grab and
Sure.
go and they're in a car, they're commuting somehow. Then the
Right.
kid
And they
gets to
think it's
school.
good.
Of course they do. It says blueberry on there. And then the kid
Sure.
gets to school and the kid is like either falling asleep or hyperactive. And now the parents are being
True.
called in and now the child's being labeled ADHD when they're suffering from a major insulin rush
Spike.
and
Yeah.
a spike and also they're malnutritioned. They're not
Sure.
there's every calorie is an empty calorie. They're lacking all of that nutrients that they need. I mean, if people really break it down, right? Like I mean, every disease that happens is from a deficiency, And so also with
Or from
sugar,
inflammation.
inflammation,
Inflammation
which
too.
typically
It's
comes
a
from
huge
these foods.
cause, yes, of
Yeah, and
disease
so
as
it's so
well.
sad. We're in
Yes.
this cycle, right? And how do we break it? I have no
Yes.
idea. Let's hope to God that maybe this new administration, I mean, I have no idea. Listen,
Making
I'm like
America
you.
healthy again.
Are we going to do it? I don't know. I don't believe
I hope.
anybody.
I hope.
I don't
I
believe the
mean,
newspapers. I don't
at
believe the
least our
people.
families will be healthy.
I
But
know.
no,
I
I
know.
think the whole purpose of this podcast is so that we can spread the word so that other people can know that it doesn't have to be an overwhelming task.
That's
Like
right.
you said, I think you just start one day at a time, maybe one food at a time that
One
you
food at
just
a time.
learn to replace. You learn
One
a
push-up at a
healthier
time.
alternative. That's
Just
right.
one thing at a time. One of the things we work on in this podcast is Chippy and I have this ongoing series called the 5+1 method. And let's see if I can remember. I should remember it by heart, but it's movement, community, um, food, food intake. Oh my gosh. What are the rest?
Well, you
Releasing
just reminded
trauma,
me of like the blue line. Or is that what it's called?
the
Like where
blue zones, the blue
the blue
zones.
zones.
Yeah.
Yes, those are all the things that help people to live to their hundreds and more.
Oh my gosh.
Is
Without
all
any
those things that
diseases.
you just listed
There's
without any
no,
diseases,
yeah. So
right?
the
A
5+1,
healthy,
and that's the thing is we just say like, hey, if you're somebody that's maybe you're living on your own and that's okay. I mean, people do live by themselves and some people really, really enjoy being by themselves. But even if you don't want to
nothing
be
wrong
a
with that.
part of the exercise class that's happening, just go watch it. Like there's a lady that comes to Zumba in the mornings on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, and she puts a chair on the side and she kind
That's
of moves her
great.
arms around. And you know
Yeah,
what? Just the fact that she shows up and she's listening to the
Yes.
music and she's talking to
Yes.
people. It's like that's better than sitting at home watching television.
And even
she's
if you're on Zoom and you're at home, maybe Sunday can't come, but Yael
right,
does a great
right.
job of, engaging those people and getting us in front of them too on Zoom and making them part of the group as well. So,
Oh my God, you just
even if
reminded
you
me I
are
should do
stuck
the
at
Zoom at
home,
night. You just
there you
reminded me of
go.
that. Why don't you do the Zoom?
Yeah.
Are you doing the Zoom?
Because your kids will be like laughing at you in the living room. I mean, because I did
I
that
love
for
it.
a while with that, when I did
I
that
love
flirty
it.
girl workout or whatever, Bodhi would be like, "What are you doing, Mom?"
Oh my gosh, you always have it. What are all the flirty girl?
I've got a PIO certification. I've done
There's so
Pilates
many.
mat. I've done core bar. I've done
I got to tell you, core bar is my
yoga 1 and
favorite.
2. Yeah.
Core bar is my favorite.
And
If I could somehow talk you into giving me one of those core bars, I'll buy it from you because I know you can't get them anymore. It's the craziest thing. Why don't we just reinvent the core bar? Like, why don't we just make a new one?
We should talk after this because, they stopped manufacturing them and we could bring it back.
Yeah, so we shouldn't get any cease
bar.
and desist letters from anybody. They stopped making them, so we'll make it.
That's
That
right.
is the best
That's
thing.
right.
I love that class. And for anybody who's never had the chance to try a core bar, Damian bought these bars years ago.
Yes,
and
they were from some girls in Denmark.
In Denmark, and started incorporating them. And I would describe it as a broomstick that was bent on this just perfectly on the sides, that if you place the bar sort of under your arms in the back, your arms go perfectly underneath and the bends are right at your rib cage, I guess.
Right. Like that, kind of.
Like that. Yeah.
And you do twists and you do bends, and
my posture has never been so good.
Yeah.
Like that made
they are
it
great
really.
For posture.
Oh, it's amazing. I think we should make one. We should make it.
That's a good idea.
Do it.
It's a good idea.
We know people.
And it's just one more fitness thing, that we both have at the house.
This one will have your name on it, though.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
What would we call it? Oh, the AD bar. That would be perfect for me. ADD.
There we go. ADD. That's funny.
So, Damian, what other tips could you leave people with? I mean, what are the things that people could maybe do at home if they can't get, like you said, like earlier, you're right. Some people can't get to the gym. And although I want to just interrupt that thought for a second, the smart TVs now, like everybody's television, almost everybody has like a fitness channel on it. Even if you don't have all the phones have apps on it. That's
usually when you buy a phone, they'll give you like 30 days of, the Nike Run or the Apple, fitness app. There's a lot of free stuff on YouTube too. You can just go on YouTube and search up, like you have a new rebounder at home. So if you wanted to, for instance, do some rebounding classes, you could look up some rebounding classes on YouTube.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
They're fun.
That's
I have
amazing.
a rebounder too. That's why I say that. But I just bought a new piece of equipment that's a series of bands from Lit Axis is the name of the company, and
is this that
I go on their
Pilates thing that
YouTube
you showed me?
sometimes. And yes, it is a Pilates
that's
thing.
cool. You should talk about that. That's cool.
So I think the important thing, as far as getting people moving, is finding something that they can commit to every day. And maybe they just start with I say, okay, let's start maybe smaller, once or twice a week. Every day it was a big commitment.
Let's say three.
If you
three
can
times
at least,
a week.
Yes, if you can do, because there's 7 days in the week, so 3 is a minimum. Let's say out of 7. I think that's a good way to start. Is just try to do something that you enjoy, that you're going to be active, that you're going to burn some calories. Whether that's getting up and, I went through a time where I would do as many push-ups as I could do in the morning, and then as many sit-ups as I could do in the morning, and then I do kick-ups. But it's just something that you can commit to. It's like you need to make a commitment to yourself.
Yeah.
To say, just like we do when we brush our teeth, like I'm not going to not brush my teeth and go out and meet you for lunch. I should also have that same commitment to my health and say, well, I'm not going to go meet you for lunch until I have done at least 10 push-ups and 20 sit-ups and, whatever that is. But it's just making a commitment to yourself, because honestly, once you do that, you get so much self-esteem from it too.
Yeah, it's
When
empowerment.
we do something that we know it's is good for us, our body like thanks us, but also our mind,
Yeah,
and we stop beating ourselves up so bad. And all of a sudden those positive, endorphins kick in and you
yep.
start feeling better too.
There's
So it's just
clarity.
a matter of just doing it. It's just don't I hate to, be like Nike, just do it, but that's really what it
But
boils
that's
down
where,
to is
right.
something, whatever it is, do it.
Well, you taught me this. I don't know if you remember, but you taught me. I said, Damien, I'm never ever going to be able to do push-ups. And you're like, well, you're not unless you do one. And you're like, every
Good.
night, which, duh, right? If you don't do one,
Right.
I'm never going to be able to do them. And so you
That's
said,
right.
start on your knees, and every
Yep.
night before you go to bed, or every morning before you do anything else, do, 5. And then in a
Right.
week, you're going to be able to do 10. And then
Yes.
at some point, you'll be able to get on off your knees and do a few more. And I don't know if you remember
Yes.
this. You also taught me. So when I broke my tailbone years ago, and I said, Damien, I don't know how I'm going to be able to run like or walk again, like the way that I was used to like moving.
Right.
And you were like, get on the treadmill or walk a minute. Just walk a minute.
Yes. Just a
And then
minute.
eventually you're going to want to walk more than a minute, and you're going to want to
That's true.
run more than a minute. And it was like, and that's how I was able to rebuild my strength, because I mean, I was pretty idle when I broke my tailbone. I didn't think I'd ever be able to walk properly again.
Well, listen, we all go through those times in our lives where we feel like maybe we have an injury. Like the beginning of this year, for the first 3 months of this year,
Oh,
I
you
had a
were,
really time
yes.
finding anything workout wise that didn't hurt me.
Yeah.
I
That was
had
your
a
neck,
nerve
right?
trapped in my neck. It was a nerve, and because of the inflammation in my neck, and maybe it was because of the positioning. I don't know what arthritis. I don't know what caused it, but I had that constant funny bone pain all down my arm for almost 3 months straight, and it kept me from being able to sleep at night, and I
I've
felt like
never seen you in pain. I've
even
seen you
walking was
break
hard for
things
me.
and
Oh yeah, I could
sprain
do
things, and
kickboxing
you're
with a
like, I'm
broken
fine.
hand, yeah, but this one really set me back. However, you can't let it get you so down that you give up. You know,
Right.
it's okay to cry about it. It's okay to get frustrated about it. We all have those days. But you just know that eventually it will get better.
Yeah.
And you just have to have that faith because man, sometimes when you're in the depth of that, and maybe somebody who's listening to this right now has got a bad injury. I had one of my clients who he just recently had, it wasn't my client's husband just recently had to have neck surgery, but he came
Oh,
into the gym one day and he was in so much pain and now he's walking on the treadmill and he's doing great. But there are days that he told her that he wished he would just die.
oh,
And that just like broke her heart. She's like, how
it
can you say
does.
that to me? But pain can be like that for people.
It is.
And
It
I
is.
understand that. And however, if you just go down that rabbit hole, it's going to get worse.
That's
You
right.
have to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that you have to just keep doing the right things. And eventually it will get better. It will get better. But it's just like you said, just put one foot in front of the other, one day at a time.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
you'll build that beautiful pyramid that you wanted.
Well, and I feel like we covered a lot in the sense of we talked about, balance, right? Which means
Yes.
do what you can, push yourself
Yes.
when you can, but also don't
Yes.
forget to rest, because
Right.
that's equally as important. And
Yes.
nourishment,
Yes.
you can't keep pushing if you're not going to replenish.
If you're not fueling your body properly, right?
Fueling with the
It's going
proper
to break it down more.
nutrition and diversity. Doing different
Yes.
things, finding different things to do. The body needs that. It's great to mix it up. And I think the most important thing is to find something that you love, because that's really the only way that you're going to sustain it, right? Like, you know,
Yes.
it's tough work, and so make
And
sure
maybe
you're
find
having
something
fun.
that feels like play, that you
Yeah.
have fun doing, like feels like play, because as we get older, we don't play. as much as we
No,
used to.
no, we
And people
don't.
don't realize how important that really is. We still need that, that sense of wonderment and that sense of discovery, whether it's with our body or with our mind. You've got to constantly try new things
Yeah.
and grow. And
Sundays are what I call my rest days. And what that means is I try not to do too much impact on my legs because I spend the whole week
yes,
doing that. And Rich and I will get close to 20 miles on our bikes. And it's we make a day of it. Sometimes we'll go get
well,
a
I wouldn't call that
pedicure.
really resting your legs.
Well, we're
20
going
miles.
well,
But
we're not
but
like
I know for
speeding.
somebody who's as active as you are, right?
But
I
but
understand what
that's
you're
like
saying, but
throughout the day, it means like
sure.
we're on our
You take a
bicycles.
nice casual ride. It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
you're racing each other. I
But it
understand.
feels like a
But I was
kid
just saying
because
that for the audience.
no, for sure, for sure. And we're not speeding. We're like, okay, first of all, let me clarify.
Right.
We're on electric bikes. So we're kind of cheating, although I need the electric bike
Okay.
because my hip. So we're on electric bikes. We're coasting around. We might go to
You're checking out each other's
breakfast.
butts.
I know Rich has a good one on his bike. But we go to breakfast and then maybe we'll ride out to the beach and we'll park the bike and we'll maybe take a little stroll down the sand just to feel the water, right? Just to kind of mix it up. But we're on the bicycles and it does feel like we're kids because to get to
Yes.
ride the bike like that, it's so
Yes.
fun. I mean, you don't ride your bike off, and it's just it's not a cycling. Like I'm not like cycling, but it is really, really fun. And I love doing that. And I think it is important to feel like kids. And I think that's one of the things that makes having kids in the family so fun too, because they'll play silly
Yes.
things. Like, remember were you part when we used to play dodgeball?
Yes.
Right? We used to play like
Yes.
stuff like
I
that.
was
Like
on a
get outside.
competitive dodgeball team, actually.
Of course you were.
Of course I was.
You're such a smarty pants. That's one of the things that I love. I mean, I love that about you is that I don't think anybody understands the level of intelligence that
Oh,
you have. Like you're such a
thank
smarty
you.
pants. Like you're so, so, so
Thank
smart
you.
and you do what you love and your clients love you. And that's a big problem now because nobody can get into you. There's no more hours in the day left. Like
I
all the
know. I
hours of
know.
every day have been
It's become a
taken.
lot more challenging now that I'm homeschooling too. But yes, it's
I think you should do
that's a
my
good problem to
idea.
have. That's sweet of you to say.
Well, I
What's
think you
that?
should do my idea where we get a truck and we put a gym inside the truck and you become a mobile trainer and
Yeah,
everything's in the
I
truck.
know. I love that. I
And maybe
know.
you
I've
just do
seen those. They're
neighborhoods.
great.
Just like come into the neighborhood. Everybody shows up to the clubhouse and you're like, all right, I'm going to do all 20
Right.
of you right now, this hour, and then you go do
Yes.
another 20. That's
Yes.
how
That
we
would
do
be
it
fun.
after we formulate and create our new whore bar. Oh, we could call it, what could we call it? A whore bar. Whore bar.
A horror bar? Is that what you said?
Well, it means
I think people might not like to be called whores, but I'm okay with it.
what are we going to call it? Body
No,
bar. Can we call it a body bar? Something
I
very
don't
creative.
know. The bent bar.
So, bent bar.
Oh,
Bent bar.
we'll have to think about
All right,
that
we're going to
one.
work
Maybe
on
we
this.
can ask
For
the
everyone
podcasters.
listening, we're going to need you to sign an NDA for our new invention that we came
That's
up
right.
with today.
That's right.
And yeah, I think, thank you, Damian. I love talking with you. I get to see
Thank
you
you for
later and
having me.
have
This
dinner
was so
with you.
fun. I know. I'm excited.
We
And
get to
all our
have dinner
gym
with our gym
friends.
girls. Yeah, all of our gym friends.
Yes.
So
I love that.
thank you, everyone. And Damian, where can people find you? And do you have a site? I mean, you have a gym.
Well, just my gym site, definitionfit.com. And I'm DFit Trainer on TikTok at DFit Trainer. And on Instagram, it's just my name, Damian Mains. So those are the two main places, the three main places.
Perfect.
Facebook's under Definition Fit. So where you can find me.
Come try a class there. All right, everyone. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much. We hope that you learned something. I know I did already. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to Zoom YL now. So excited. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you.
I always love talking to you and I learn from you. And bye. And thank you
Same
to everyone
here.
who
In
watched.
this moment, I feel so clear. Oh, ask soon to form magic spell to make us feel and live so well. In her